In this episode, we look at lessons I've learned from meditation. Get excited because this is Tiny Leaps, Big Change. Welcome to another episode of Tiny Leaps, Big Changes, where I share simple strategies you can use to get more out of your life. My name is Greg Clunis, and in this episode, we are looking at a few lessons that I have sort of taken away from the process of meditation. I've been super into meditation lately. I started reading this book called Turning the Mind into an Ally, and I'll link up to that in the description of this episode. The book is all about the process of meditation, why it's valuable, how it helps us with our mental health. It's written by, he's either a former or a current monk who practices meditation daily, does the full 12-hour meditation type, those people, right? So he has a lot of great insight into meditation, and that's sort of gotten me very interested in it as well. So I've been doing a daily meditation every single morning right after reading the book and sort of informing my thoughts about the process from there. And I've learned a few good things about myself and about personal development as a whole that I want to share with you in today's episode. Now, before we jump into it, let's look at today's sponsor. So for the past month or so, I've been starting my days with a nice tall glass of Hydrant water, and it leaves me feeling amazing. Hydrant is a packet of flavored electrolytes you can mix directly into your water to make hydrating your body easy and delicious. My current favorite flavor is blood orange, and here's what my routine looks like. I wake up, pour a glass of water, rip open a Hydrant packet, mix it up, and then I sip my water while reading a book or right before my morning meditation. Each rapid hydration mix has the 4 essential electrolytes your body needs: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and zinc, which all help you hydrate quickly and stay hydrated all day. And Hydrant is backed by research. The formula was developed by Oxford scientists to provide perfectly balanced, efficient hydration. So if you want to improve your hydration, improve your focus, improve your concentration, and just live a better life overall, pick up Hydrant today. For 25% off your first order, head over to drinkhydrant.com and enter the promo code TINYLEAPS at checkout. That's drinkhydrant.com and enter the promo code Tiny Leaps for 25% off your first order. Now, one of the first big things that I've learned about meditation in the last few weeks, in the last few months of doing it every morning, is that struggle is sort of where happiness comes from. So we have this idea of wanting more, right? If we're looking at personal development shows, if we're listening to this show, reading my book, whatever it is that you are doing in your life for your personal development, we have this idea of seeking more, looking towards this non-existent future, right? We're working towards something that doesn't currently exist. And by definition, we have to be a little bit optimistic. We have to be willing to sort of work through and grind and get to that point. But a lot of us sort of turn away or shy away from struggle and failure and the pain of that process. Now, I've talked in the past about how in order to progress forward, you have to be willing to sacrifice. Success requires sacrifice. This is a thing that I talk about regularly. But what I think that people still don't fully wrap their heads around this idea. And I really honestly didn't until going through this process of meditating, because here's what happens when you start meditating regularly. Some days are really, really good. Some days you fall right into it and you feel like you're able to hold off the thoughts. You're able to sit down and focus on your breath and keep that held. And then other days you sit down and the entire time you are fighting. You are fighting against all the distracting thoughts. You're fighting against that itch on your arm that you just want to scratch. You're fighting against noise in the room. Some days are just a really difficult meditation. And this, I've been told, is true for things like running, for things like exercise, like anything that requires a little bit of discipline. I've been told you have those really great days and you have those really bad days. those bad days, after those bad days, you end up feeling the most, in my opinion, the most satisfied because you struggled through it, because you fought to get to that other side. It was hard and you still did it. And after experiencing that over and over again, it made me realize that the highest level of happiness, the highest level of contentment and joy in your life often comes as a result of struggling for something, right? You are fighting for something. You are pushing through and making a conscious choice. It's not when a fight is brought to you. It's when you consciously choose to fight. You consciously choose to push through that pain, push through that hardship in order to get to the other side. And then that reward feels so much better. I found that the days that my meditations were harder were the days that I came out of the other side and felt more determined, felt happier, felt calmer throughout the day, because I was able to deal with that so I can deal with this, whatever this is. And on a related note, one of the second things that meditation really helped me realize is that you always feel better when you do the thing than when you don't. So I'll give you an example. Yesterday, Rachel invited me to go for a run. It was a warm day here in New Hampshire, and so we went out to a trail. We went for a run. Now, here's the thing. I didn't want to go for a run. I was feeling down and depressed and upset and sad and just sort of not in the right mental space to feel like, oh, yeah, I guess I'm going to go for a run now, right? I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to, but I still talked myself into it. And I don't love running. That's another important part. Like, running isn't something that historically has been valuable to me from the perspective of shifting my moods, right? I really just have never really enjoyed it. I want to, which is why I'm doing it and sticking with it, but I don't like it, at least not currently. So this was one of those things where I really didn't feel like I wanted to spend the time and energy on this thing. What I truly wanted to do was stay home and finish my work and just sort of crash and lay on the couch and sort of be mopey for the rest of the day. That's what I felt like doing. But I went anyway. And here's what happened. It was a lot of fun. Like the run was hard. Going back to that first thing, the struggle always leads to the best results. But also getting out and doing the thing, at the end of it, I could now look back at my day and think, you know what? I did that thing today. This thing I said I'm going to do, I did it. I got it done. It doesn't matter what the rest of the day looked like. I got that thing done. This one thing that was important to me. I committed to myself. I was dedicated. I put in the work and I made it happen. And that's an amazing feeling. And that comes from doing the thing. Whether that thing is meditation, whether it's a workout, whether it's cleaning up your room, whether it's sending out that email, whatever that thing is that is important to you, that matters, that you've been putting off, it always feels better to do the thing. And this is something that meditation taught me. Going through that process of meditating every single day. Even if just for 2 minutes. Some days I'll do 10, but sometimes I just don't have the time. So I do 2. I'll do 1. I'll put a timer on my phone for 1 minute and just sit there and focus on my breath. And it feels silly. But I always, every single time, look back on my day at the end of that day and smile. Because I know meditation is important to me right now. And I got it done. It doesn't matter how long I did it for. I was able to make it happen. And that always, always feels good. Now, here is my final lesson so far with meditation. This one comes mostly from the book. The book is Turning the Mind into an Ally. I'm going to link to it in the description, so I recommend that you read it. This one is something he talks about in the book that I've since sort of realized and have started to recognize through meditation. And it is that the you that you think you are is not you. Now, stick with me here. You, in quotes, does not exist, right? Now, I don't mean that you as a human being don't exist. You are here. You're in the physical realm. Depending on what you believe, you've got a spirit, you've got a mind, you've got all of these things, right? But you, the way that you view yourself, your idea of me is not real. That is a construct. that was made up by the experiences you've had, the ways that your brain was developed, the people that you've been around, the conversations you've had. There's all of these different factors throughout your life that have created you, the idea of you. But that is not permanent. You do not exist. There is no me. There is no me. There is an I, meaning I exist as a human, as a person, as a physical being in this world. But the way that I view me, the way that I view myself, I'm sorry, this is getting hard to follow, that doesn't exist. That is not permanent. And what that means, and this is why this is valuable for our personal development, is that we are changeable. The way that we view ourselves is changeable. We're malleable. We can grow. We can become better. We can completely shift to a different type of person. The identities that we have taken on so far in our lives could be shifted over time. Now, the more built in those identities are, the harder it will be for that shift to happen. If you've always identified as a runner and now you want to, for whatever reason, become the type of person that hates running, that's going to be a long shift, right? That's not going to happen overnight. That might not even happen in a year. But that version of you can also exist over time, depending on the things that you start to consume. There's a version of me that existed in the past that hated politics, had nothing to do with politics, was not interested in politics whatsoever. And that at the time was me. That person no longer exists because this person is very interested in politics, is very involved in the process, is actively going out and trying to fight for his preferred candidate. This version of me is not that version of me. Those two versions of me both have existed in my lifetime. Why? Because neither of them are permanent. The next version of me might not care about politics at all. The next version of me might be angry at politics, or the next version of me might run for office. I have no idea. My point is, who I am currently and who you are currently is not the permanent version of yourself. There is no permanent version of yourself. You are malleable. You are changeable. You are growable. That's not a word, but it's fine. It might be a word, whatever. You can become something else, and you can choose who that person is. You can choose what that version of you is. Meditation is one way to help with that because it allows us to control the constant distractions that we go through. But you've got to make that choice. So I hope this was helpful to some of you out there. If you've been considering meditation, these lessons learned, I honestly think that if you get started, you're going to pick up your own lessons. You're going to identify things for yourself. If you have no interest in meditation, that's fine. Take these lessons and use them for yourself in your own life. Pick up the book, Turning the Mind into an Ally. I found it really valuable. I got it from my local library. Recommend you do the same or pick it up on Amazon or wherever the heck you get your books, I guess. And thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you. Listen, if you're not over on the YouTube yet, youtube.com/Greg Clunis, be sure to click subscribe on the channel. We are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're currently about 700 away, so we need you. We need you to hop over there, click subscribe, and you'll be able to drop in on the comments and let us know what you think about each of the episodes. Thank you again. I've been Greg Clunis, and remember that all big changes come from the tiny leaps you take every day.